We have a lot of power in this room. Mr. Michael Childers, of course. This is Roger Chalmers. Roger is one of our producers of the film who financed and helped out with Ken. I introduced him to Ken, and they clicked like this, and he was more than willing to help our black cause, if you will. And he's a Sikh. Okay. This brother is actually, he grew up on the west side of Chicago in the hood. So
West Side.
And this is Mr. Fred himself. This is Fred Obama Legacy Initiative with OLI. Fred Greenwood. It used to be Obama Legacy Initiative, but now he just calls it OLI. And he runs an organization that helps veterans and literally a five-star veterans. And
yes, Gold Star.
Gold Star. You can say it. Don't let me mess it up. Go ahead.
We work with Gold Star families, and we do raised garden beds, and we have murals painted around these, and then we put the names of the fallen soldiers, or actually we do first responders now too, firefighters, police officers. Nice. And all the food that comes from these beds is donated to food pantries.
It's in people's backyard.
Yes, ma'am, and in community gardens.
That's what we got to go back to.
Yes.
We planted, we ate.
These two raise food for the community. They hand out food. They have garden beds. Roger, tell them about you, please, right quick.
Roger Chalmers, just, a brother from the west side back in the day in the 70s, but I am a Sikh, as you can see. The turban is part of my uniform, and that, the black skin on your body is your uniform. And so that is who we are. We should be proud of our identity.
Yes.
We need to stay in our solidarity as a people. I'm very proud to be a Sikh. I'm very proud that you guys are, African American, black. And the reason I'm involved with Andrew's projects and Mr. Ken's project is the more of us that can tell our own story,
yes,
rather than some other person who has nothing except something to gain from our history and our story, that's why I'm here. So if we can tell our own story, I think that's so powerful for everybody, not just our own younger people, but everybody. The world needs to hear our individual stories. And once we do that, then that concept of justice and equality will get much closer, yes, rather than the inequality that we have sometimes.
Excellent.
I want to say this really quick.
Honored and blessed.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, please.
The fact that I think the man is really, really humble is Andrew. I mean, the fact that he can put us all in a room. When I woke up this morning, I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea I was here. But the fact that I'm in this room with you all makes me feel just honored. And like I say, that you have to recognize, I know you're a humble man, but you have to recognize the power that you have to put all of us in the same room.
Yes.
At this time, on this day.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that.
And it's history in this room.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to say this really quick. Between these three, I love them. They are my brothers. Roger, my nephew got killed. His cousin, my nephew, and he was killed on February 2nd. And when I was in Minnesota, Roger had sent me $2,500 because we didn't have money for the hotel room. And he sent me some additional money as well to help out with my with the expenses for my wife and I. And then he also imparted into Ken with this project. Ken, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Black people didn't support this movie technically. They've given a little bit, but Roger is a lighter shade of brown who gave money, and the horror community, Ken's lineage from where he comes from, supported it. We have a masterpiece that we're going to be showing tomorrow, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm the editor on the movie, but I'm not bragging on it. He and I set up hours, sometimes 2 days straight without sleep, and we worked on this movie. And what I wanted to say about it is that the support, make sure you say, the support of our people aren't coming through like it should.
Right.
And it's sad because Roger shouldn't have to give $5, $10, $20,000 to a project that was meant and rooted in civil rights, because the civil rights that he benefits from came from us. And he deals with stuff overseas. He's the head of a Sikh community out here. He goes to their Sikh church. But bigger than that, he kicks it with black folk. Like, real kick it with black. He go eat hog maws and ribs and everything. That's what he do. He take us all the time to go get barbecue there. So, and it's not because he's trying to fit in. So Roger actually cares about culture when it comes to black people. And I'm saying this for the youth. It's sad because black people don't care about black people enough to finance them. Ken should not have to struggle for this movie. He shouldn't have to come out of pocket. He shouldn't have to prostitute himself. Tell him, Ken, how you prostitute himself. So I just want to share it with you guys, and I thought I found it worthy on different levels, because when it comes, and that's not to say black people don't help me. Fred hires me all the time to do his videography. Brother Childers and I, we've had events. Matter of fact, he came here tonight to give and purchase tickets and stuff. So we're in a position of power, I think, and we can make a difference with this movie and literally take it around the world. I'm talking about around the world.
Should go, because they know about us more than what the people do here.
Right.
Well, I was following your father online, and I've seen documentaries, but I've never seen a movie.
Never.
And this is the first movie, and
Everything
you've
that
endorsed it.
you
You've endorsed
see
it
online is by
Yeah.
white people.
Mm-hmm. So this is the first time it's been by black folk.
Yeah.
If I may say so, Andrew Tyler, I've been part of the Tyler Film Festival for the last 2 years.
Yes.
And the collection of viewpoints, I mean, you put together like 30, 40, 50 movies in 2 days.
Yeah.
That is unheard of. And the perspective,
Yeah, it is.
and the perspective and the point of view of just the struggles that are unique. Some are unique to the African American community, some are not, Voting rights, I mean, in India, they're gonna cut out the Sikhs from voting. They'll give us a bottle of liquor and $100 or whatever, and they'll just, before we vote. So we gotta tell our own story. We have similar struggles when it comes to equality and justice. Right now, the ticket is education, and I literally, it really meant a lot to me when you encourage young people to stay in schools and you're incenting them. And we just got to have that sense of urgency, because education is like the great equalizer now. And then it's artists like Andrew and Fred Greenwood here. So we're trying to solve it on so many different levels so we can actually get to the next level and be at the table rather than,
Take
be
the
part of
crumbs
the
that
people.
they
I want to be the table.
Right,
I
listen.
be the table. I think we should be the table, not be just at the table.
Right.
I'm learning more and more, and this film festival is teaching me. Kanye West is worth $9 billion right now. More than Oprah, more than Jay-Z, more than everyone. He's worth $9 billion. And he said something in his latest video, and a lot of people don't like Kanye, but I was listening to him, and he said, what he said was, it was profound in a sense, but it was arrogant. Of course, that's him. And he said his mother was arrested for the sit-ins when she was 6 years old. She was arrested for the sit-ins down in Alabama. This is you guys. This is the history that we're dealing and we're living in, and people think everybody's dead. We're still alive.
Very much alive.
We are still alive. In this room, we're still alive. So for us to not, for younger people to sometimes say in your day or back then, I have a problem with that. My biggest problem, though, is reparations.
Right.
Repairing a people. How do you repair people? So Roger, he's not white, but he's imparting into a black community. That's kind of reparations because he benefits from the civil rights movement, right? So with whatever he's done, he benefits, and he can acknowledge and say, you know what, we're all in this boat together. From a supremacist mindset, though, you would storm the Capitol, take flags up there, whoop the police, and do all this stuff, and not come back full circle and say, I'm sorry. So, and follow Trump and all the rest of it. I said that, follow Trump and all the rest of them. So in my mind, I know I'm just talking, but I think that we have something special in this room, more than just you guys, right? I think with them being here and them portraying on screen. Wait until you see these performances tomorrow. I told them in the car that and Ken, you can agree or disagree with me and let me know. This is the first movie I've seen where there are no heroes or stars. It's a very unique movie. Pay attention to that tomorrow. There is no star in the movie. Everybody is the star. It's crazy. I can't point to one person and say starring Kennedy or starring Nicholas. It is not going to happen. They worked their butts off in this movie, and Ken shot the movie, and he's going to bring something to life that really touches people's hearts and minds. And I pray that it transforms laws in every sense of the word. And they put this in schools and stop talking about this critical race theory and all that stuff. So that's my hope of this whole thing.
You know, our children can't show what they don't know.
Show can't.
We have never had Black history taught in school.
And it
When I
wasn't
was a
taught
child,
properly.
They gave us a month, February, the shortest month of the year. They talked about Booker T. Washington. And there's a new documentary on him, how he was killed, 30 days to die. I just learned that 2 weeks ago. But we need to teach what has happened, and we need to have available for them the truth. Because everybody tell you something, it's not necessarily telling the truth. They're telling you their point to get you on their side.
Right.
But you need to listen to the people that have been there and did it. And that's why I applaud him. When Laquita called me and told me about you, and I thought, somebody's writing a movie about that. It happened in 63, and it's almost what? How many years later?
60.
67.
60.
Come next year to be 60.
60? Yep.
Someone
60th
finally
anniversary.
made a movie. So I definitely wanted to see. And when he sent me the trailers, I was impressed. And then he showed me all the other stuff he was doing to help young people. We don't do that enough.
That's right.
We don't have enough organizations helping to train the minds of the Black young people. I taught for 30 years. I taught special education. I was blessed to be in a district that sent me to the Council for Exceptional Children's Conference. But I didn't go for EMR or special ed. I went to the gifted classes, and I took what they taught the gifted and adapted to my children. If we cut ourselves, whatever color, nationality you are, we all bleed red. We all should have the same opportunity to do and be the best. And you never know what pricks a mind to do more. And that's why I try to expose. Like we all have learning modalities. Some can hear it, see it, taste it. I use them all because you don't know what you're working with. But be prepared to know what you're talking about. And what I'm talking about is what happened to me. Can't nobody tell my story like I can. And you should do the same. Can't nobody tell your story. The fact that you were in this movie, you should research your character, the identification that you have. Because Y.T. Walker, C.T. Vivian, Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, C.K. Steele out of Tallahassee, Florida, they were all leaders. And there are still leaders that we don't know about. Because what we didn't have in the South, the Hollywood stars would invite Daddy, Dr. King, out there and give them money, like this gentleman is, helping you with that. But people don't know what to do because we don't have a communication thing where we can, what's going on? That's what you guys need to set up on Facebook and speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And only allow people on there that will give you facts. And only put the facts on there after you check them out.
So I learned this earlier, and I had no idea, but someone had stolen Miss Mamie's identity. And Miss Kandi wrote a book about it, and the lady that stole her identity went on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And Oprah thought that the lady was her. So they on TV, Oprah's crying, told Mamie, I can't believe you're going through this. And Miss Mamie is at home watching it on TV.
Yes.
You can imagine.
Yes.
True story. So Kandi wrote a book about it. We're gonna talk a little bit about it tomorrow. But can you imagine? And this is the mindset. And this was a lighter shade of brown black woman, right? Yeah. That stole your identity. And can you say the name of the book again, please?
It's Her Stolen Pride.
Her Stolen Pride. Stole this woman's identity, went around the country, made millions of dollars, and lied about it. Had speaking engagements, all kinds of stuff in the name of Miss Mamie King-Chalmers. If you can imagine that. So our history is hell, you can write a movie about that.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm doing.
About that. So, I mean, but the importance of her stealing a young girl that was water hosed up against a wall. If you can imagine that.
Who was in the fight.
Who was in the fight. And this woman wasn't even in the fight. And you said she lied about knowing the 4 girls that were bombed at the church in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
She said she was the secretary of the church.
And say she was one of the girls. Yeah. She said she was the secretary of the church. She actually handled things on Sunday morning. And you know that's a lie. You know that's a lie today. You tell me in what church today they got children handling the money like that, unless it's Sunday school or something like that, and it's a children's day. You know what I'm saying? They have Children's Day once a year, something like that. And then you wasn't go, and you still wasn't 13, and especially down in Birmingham, collecting no money up there. Nah, all of that stuff that she said was a lie.
You know, sometimes people are right for that. People want to hear something and they have itching ears, and they take whatever you say and go with it. We must check facts. Right. Before we spread them on. Go ahead.
Well, Oprah never apologized. That's the other thing.
I've contacted Oprah for years. Oprah never apologized. Gayle King hung up on it after she heard it was me. I called her before. She answered, and she told me that she was busy. She'll call me back. This was like 7-8 years ago, right? And I called again about 3 years after that, and she heard my voice. I guess I got this voice. She heard my voice, but they had already asked me in the beginning who was calling. And she said hello, and she hung up. That's what she said. She said hello, and she hung up. So all of them, in my mind, after all of the research that I've done over the years about the situation and what happened to my mom, it's something telling me that it's a little bit deeper than what's put out on the level for us to see. You see what I'm saying? The reason why I say it like that is because people backed this woman. We had church people, we had stars, celebrities, all these different people that backed this woman.
Telling a lie.
That was telling a lie. She got, like you said, when she got up on that stage, on Oprah's stage, Oprah smart. Oprah is smart, okay? Oprah knew that was not the lady. She knew that wasn't my mother. She knew that. That lady was half white looking, okay? So that woman, she knew. Oprah, nobody never tell me Oprah didn't know. And especially after we done wrote Oprah letters, my mother contacted Oprah before the show was even aired and telling her not to air the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But see, all of these people, I would say they helped her. I'm going to use the word helped. You know what I'm saying? They helped her obtain this goal and take these white people's money by saying because it was white folks that gave money to her. It was white folks that put her in a big car and put her on that big house on the hill. You see what I'm saying? There was a lot of that went on.
Interesting things that I've said many, many times. You know, racism is a tool.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tool used by the rich and powerful to keep everybody divided. Because if you're divided, then you don't get an opportunity to see that you got more in common. Right? We all got things in common. But if you keep race, Donald Trump's excellent at it. Keep race in your face all the time. You never really understand that we have all these things in common between the Sikhs, the Asians, the Hispanics. We all want the same thing. We want clean water, we want education, we want better schools for our kids, we want our young brothers to prosper. We want all of that. And there's no difference among the races, but if you can keep driving that wedge in between and keeping you focused on what somebody else is getting and make it seem like you losing out on something, then you never can come together as a people.
Right.
Mr. Porter, was you going to say something?
No, I was going to say that what she said and what you said, it's a testament what she was saying about this imposter. I mean, we don't know our history. And this lady was able to go on stage, on a world stage, and fool everybody. And that is very embarrassing.
Rich and powerful, though. It doesn't matter whether
As
it's
a
black or
race,
white.
how could
right?
that happen?
And traveled the world. And would have continued traveling the world if I didn't stop her. And I stopped her. I stopped her hard. We stopped her right in her tracks. She was actually supposed to, wasn't she, Mom, supposed to go on another show or something and talk about the same thing, but we caught her before then. Senior reporter from the Detroit News, Frank Donnelly, took the case, and Frank Donnelly called this woman. He would call her on the phone, and she'll hang up on him, and didn't he get a chance to talk to her one time or something? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and asked her several questions.
Where's she at today?
She's still down in Birmingham, still
She's
preaching.
in Birmingham.
She's a minister, y'all. I forgot to indicate that to y'all.
But,
She's
I
a
mean,
minister.
I mean, but you guys put the kibosh on it. If you guys, but why didn't anybody else see this?
Because it wasn't convenient. Everybody was afraid. In '63, they were afraid to do anything because of who might lose a job. The police might harass you. So she said to let it go. Okay, there are people that were in power to do something to Frank Cherry that bombed 16th Street, and when he went free for 38 years, but they didn't do it. When they finally had a chance to give him an evaluation, they didn't want to do that because they said he was too old. Finally, they got the evaluation. The judge said he was okay to stand trial, and he finally went to jail. In Birmingham, it was so bad. It's called Birmingham. That people were afraid. Why did the children march? Because the parents couldn't.
They couldn't.
They would lose their jobs. They would be hung, or they would
Go to jail.
Go to jail. It was horrible in those times.
Well, because they bombed your house, right?
56 Christmas night. They even published
That's
in the
not bomb on
newspaper Christmas night. They even published in the newspaper our address because Daddy was going to lead a demonstration on the 26th of December to integrate the buses. And they put an article in the paper. He lives at 3191 First, I forget our street, 29th Avenue. It's now Fred Shuttleworth Drive, but they told him where to go. And they came and they did it. But they didn't stop us because Daddy said to the newscaster, the police officer that came, he said, Reverend, I never thought they'd go this far. Daddy said, well, you go back and tell your clan brothers that if the Lord can save you from this, I'm here for the duration.
I saw your daddy say, I'm bomb-proof on a video.
Yes.
He said, I'm bomb-proof. I thought that was the most amazing thing I ever heard.
Nobody was hurt. There were my mother, my father, my brother, my sister. My one sister was in the hospital. Reverend Mr. Deacon and Mrs. Robinson were in that house. Nobody got scratched. And the house just went over to the side. God is good, but we need to tell the truth. We don't need to add. One man said, Reverend was blown out of his bed and into his basement. We didn't have no basement. Right? You don't have to make horrible worse. Just tell the truth. But always research your truth. Because someone is giving you that might be lying. And so for my book, I'm saying I want fact proven. This woman has fact proven stuff. I have people that. Go ahead.
When I first talked to Miss Mister, she said those same words to me, even though I had it written down. I had to go back and find it again just in case I have to cross them. So
Which words?
The words about facts.
Oh.
Because it was Mr. Latour that told me about the fairground and about the pens and the hog pens and stuff like that. And so I got the papers for you.
Good.
And I got to get them to you. But I wanted to say my thing about the stories. We also got to start supporting our black stories.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things is that we get these stories out there, but nobody look at them. And I also want to add about these 4 young men. They know I call them and get on them, so asking questions I shouldn't be asking, but I expect an answer. But and that's because the reason I do that, guys, is because they did it to me, and because they loved me enough to check up on me, and so I was taught to pass it on. And I don't want our young people them coming behind me to grab the baton of our history with greasy hands.
Right.
Because if you grab it with greasy hands, eventually you're going to let it go.
Yes.
So I need you to reach down there and get some sand so you can hold on to the history. When you hold on to it, you'll become rich.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never met Mr. Reverend Fred Shuttleworth, but I did speak to him on the phone once. And his last words to me was, do me well. Do me well. I told him I wanted to write this story. And so, but it's something here for me that I see that's beautiful. I don't, you know, I am so happy, Mr. Porter, to see you to come out to support your son.
Yes.
Those are the examples that we need. We don't see very much of that, you know, and that means a lot to me to see that. That's a wonderful picture that I like to write stories about. People ask me, why do I write these stories? Because I really am, excuse my French, damn proud of who I am as a black man.
Mm-hmm.
I really am. So you know, when I pitch this story to other people, they don't like it. But you know, I love it, and I will continue to do it. And I also want to say the first person that supported me, the very first person was Miss Mamie. She lived in Detroit. I didn't think I would ever meet in person. Not only did she support me, she took a picture and held it up to support me. And that meant the world to me. These young people, y'all mean the world to me. I love you like a second son until you piss me off. But
That's how we do.
you know, and
Then we gonna love you up again.
yeah, and Andrew would tell you, I wanted to make sure that they was here. Whatever you're gonna do for me, don't spend it on me, spend it on them. And that's why I wanted them here tomorrow. For tomorrow, is because I wanted them to be a part of it, because they are our legacy.
Yeah. They're going to be able to tell it better than we can.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Remember, I told y'all that. Remember, I said y'all are going to be able to tell y'all children what y'all learned making that movie and doing this rap session that we having right now.
And you're gonna be proud.
And you're going to be
You're
proud.
gonna be proud. No, proud when you see how their ability.
Yes.
Proud to see what they're doing. This best you got a taste of it. But boy, tomorrow when they put that music to it, you're going to be proud. Because me and Andrew, we've been up fighting. We didn't know uphill. You know,
Yeah.
I know he's been cussing me out. But I know he's been cussing
Well,
me
me
out.
because you remember the other day she cussed both of us out.
Yeah, both of us out. But hey, when we did it, we hang up and we right back where we started at, with that fist of love. You know, my grandfather taught me that everything has a place, but you got to put those fingers together. When you make that fist, you're going to knock it down and keep walking.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, I'm hoping that we're going to have a premiere in Los Angeles. I didn't ask for it. They called for me.
Praise God.
So hopefully, we're working on something in Birmingham.
You need to call
Yes,
the Birmingham
definitely.
Civil Rights Institute.
You know,
Because that's
Definitely.
where it happened.
I need you all to
And
help me.
I told you,
All you need
I
to
will
do-
help you
I'll
pay
be
for the
glad to.
premiere. I will help you pay for the premiere in Birmingham for it to be premiered down there. I will help you. So you don't have to worry about that. Let's get the dates together and let's take this on a tour so everyone will be able to see this movie and be able to feel it and embrace what we embrace.
But I'm hoping I can make it a feature film because there's so much I left out.
Well, you couldn't put it all in.
No,
Yes.
But you put the most important
Yes.
things
Right.
in.
so
And we
before-
can add to. You can
Yes,
always add
you
to.
can always
But the
add.
thing of it is, it happened in Birmingham, and that's who should see it. And you should go to the Civil Rights Institute. You should contact Bethel Baptist Church. You could contact 16th Street Baptist Church, and you should contact the Museum of Art, because those are people who I have seen just this past 2 weeks that have a vested interest in promoting Fred Shuttleworth and the mayor Randall Woodfin, because he named Fred Shuttleworth Day 318 a day forever in the city, and he planted a tree at our home that was bombed. So I'm saying they are ready But you need to just say, Ruby Shuttleworth Fester asked me to call you and tell them what they're doing. And because the people can see what they did, but it's never been done before, so they'll be glad to see it.
And before we go, I know I put him on the spot. I want to thank Roger, who he bet me a good 5 minutes. And when I told him about this story, and he said, meet me for lunch, he wrote me the first check to help me.
Praise God.
But before we go, can we hear something from these?
Oh,
Yes.
I told you I won't put you on the spot. But
Let's
you gotta
talk.
always be ready
I
to
want to
speak
know
up.
how y'all felt. How y'all felt making this movie. That's what I see. I interview people too. I just don't make films and stuff. I do a lot. I got artists and everything. But I want to know from each one of y'all, how did y'all feel making this movie and being a part of this movie? How did y'all feel when y'all knew that y'all had to come on set and get in the character? How did you feel when y'all made this movie?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of talked about it previously. I didn't know anything about the Children's Crusade before coming on the project. And it was interesting because this was like right after the whole BLM march, which there's a lot of my peers and myself was out there as well. And I thought this was something that's never happened before. But coming on the project and realizing that this in fact happened before, and a lot of the people that I know don't even know about it. I'm also realizing that the youth learn through films. Like a lot of the stuff I know about the civil rights is from films. I learned about Fred Hampton from the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. I didn't know anything about his story.
Which happened here in Chicago.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
I
coming
can
on,
tell you about a house actually.
Yeah.
Here's one.
Yeah, so coming on and being able to play this character that his father wasn't allowed to vote was
Fork.
was insane. Especially in the day and age where voting, we have that right. A lot of people don't use it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar headspace to Francis. You know, coming into this, I didn't really know much about anything regarding it. And I learned a lot of stuff through film. And honestly, coming into it, I didn't realize how big of a story it would be, you know? So it was just an honor to be a part of something like this. It really changed a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for nights like tonight because doing this project, I guess I didn't realize how much bigger than myself it really was, you know? Like how you kind of said this is something that I can explain to my kids or
Yes.
whatever, you know, I just kind of took it for granted and thought, you know, as an actor, like this is how I would portray a role. Whereas like, you know, the accuracy of the story is really more important than that. So I'm just super grateful for tonight.
Yeah, and piggyback on that, it just, for me, I'm still in the process of just taking it all in, you know. It's like, you don't really wake up every day and be like, okay, I'm gonna be in a room full of greats, you know. It's a process that you take in and you just take a step back and realize, you know, your purpose. And for me, it's gonna be one day where I'm on a stage or I'm on somewhere in the world and I get to explain that, like, I was here and I got to listen to a story, I got to be a part of a story, and now I'm gonna be in the future years to tell the story. So I'm just thankful to be a part of this as well as everyone else.
It's kind of like I was telling them right over here. Black history is really lacking, so it's not really your fault. It's just not taught. You know, when I was growing up, we got three things. We were slaves. There was a Civil War. Martin Luther King. You don't have no other history at all. No scientists. No. We're not talking about the civil rights